Good morning. You listen to floordaily.net, and I'm Kemp Harr. This morning, my guest is Santo Torcivia with Market Insights. Santo, how you doing?
I'm doing fine, Kemp. How are you?
I'm good. I wanted to talk to you today because earlier this week you put out your Market Monitor. Now, those people don't know, you put out an annual book called the U.S. Floor Report. And for those people that subscribe to that, you give quarterly updates. And the first quarter update you just published, I thought my listeners might like to hear a few of the highlights of that. Oftentimes, economists say on the one hand and on the other hand, and we talked to an economist earlier this week, Kermit Baker, who's up in the Boston area. And I will tell you, in looking at your report, that you are much more optimistic. I would say your glass is definitely half full. So tell us about your read on the economy and the market.
I think that the administration we have right now is essentially creating a new paradigm in economic and, for that matter, foreign policy. That could either be really good or that could be really bad. Right now, the numbers seem to be shifting towards driving the economy upwards. And I'm looking at the stock market, which has reached record levels. Everybody knows the stock, or maybe they don't. The stock market is a forward-looking vehicle where investors are betting on what's going to happen in the future. What the investors are saying is it looks good. We're seeing consumer spending rise, and that's the engine of our growth.
Yeah.
We're seeing employment rise. Now, interest rates have just been jacked a little bit by the Federal Reserve, so that may put a little headwinds into any growth that's going to occur. But I think that was more or less expected at some point this year. New home construction's on the rise. Existing home sales are going up, as are prices in existing home sales.
Yeah.
That's usually a positive for two reasons. One, as prices rise, it gives people more equity, which they take some of that equity out and use it for home improvements or jet skis or you name it, which helps the economy. The energy prices are still low. We're not seeing the North Dakota oil come back online yet, but we are seeing natural gas prices will remain low. That of course, is a big plus for the ceramic industry.
Right.
And for consumers on the whole. And commercial construction probably will revive later in the year. The one thing that was holding this economy back was the myriad of regulations that most people didn't see, but that the Obama administration had placed in the way of and on top of a lot of industries. And they're just ripping out a lot of these regulations, which should help business formations and business growth.
I'll second that. I refinanced my house about 5 years ago, and the closing papers package was about an inch thick, and that was ridiculous. Hopefully that will free up some of the lending.
Yeah, and the same thing with the medical reform, the healthcare reform. I sit on a nonprofit board with a doctor, and I hear the horror stories that he goes through on a regular basis. He's turned into a paper pusher.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And, if we can clear some of that out as well, make that more efficient, make healthcare costs go down. Like I said, this is all at the crossroads. Mm-hmm. And we'll see what happens.
One of the things that you do, because most people, know your background, know that while you are a trained economist and you get a lot of your data from some of these things you subscribe to, you are focused in the flooring business. I mean, you worked for Mannington for many years, and you've been our partner for statistical information. So how does all that relate to what you think will happen in 2017 to the flooring business?
We're looking for a good year in 2017, an improving year in 2017.
Okay.
We're going to continue to see a lot of the same trends. We're going to see, I think, carpet under siege in some market segments, and that's going to get mitigated to some degree by carpet tiles going in commercial and carpet being used in both new construction. It's still a product that's very desirable in new construction, especially in tract housing as well as in tenant improvement. So I think both of those will mitigate against any big losses for carpet. The other thing is LVT continues to just go break all records in terms of growth. Yeah. Every time we think it's going to plateau, every model, we think we finally got a model that predicts what's going to happen. It blows through it.
One of the issues there, though, is trying to figure out what filling the pipeline is and what the consumer's pulling. So it's going to be interesting. This is going to be a shakeout year for that, I believe.
Yeah, and we're getting ready to do a major study, as you know, with retailers to try to get a handle on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, LVT has everything going for it. I mean, it's got ease of installation. It's got very good styling. It has, and the wood looks are what really sell in LVT, as they do in a lot of other categories. But with LVT, they have the natural look and the ease of installation, and you can't beat that. And wood is the most desirable product. We've done those studies, Kemp, with the magazine, with consumers, and they still love wood, and they'll take it any way they can get it.
Yeah. Let me add real quick before we run out of time. I looked at your report just because you do one of the things you do that's unique to your report is you do some forecasting, and just looking at the commercial sectors. And I'm going to run through these real quick. You show charts on where things are headed. Office, and this is on the commercial side. You got office at flat. You've got retail going down. You got education still trending up. You've got healthcare trending up, and hospitality you've got flat to slightly down. So those are interesting reads on what's going on in the commercial sector.
Yeah, and we look at hospitality a little different. We look at it in terms of the way Dodge looks at it.
Yeah.
Because we put restaurants into the retail category. Right. Yeah, and the one thing, retail is probably going to be the hardest hit, not only because of e-commerce, which is a big deal, but also from the discounters. There's a lot of juxtaposition going on with retail right now, and as there are with a lot of industries. The other thing that I'm hard-pressed to get a read on is what's going to happen with our import strategy vis-a-vis the federal government. This could be a boon for people who've built plants here, or not, depending on which way this policy falls.
That's got to all be legislated, and it'll probably be a year before any of that has an effect. Yeah,
and I'm sure some of that will be. They may even segment it to industries. I don't know.
Yeah, right.
But then again, you got the unintended consequences of domestic producers raise prices because now they have a little bit of an advantage.
Right.
Or will that translate to lower price? We'll have to see.
Exactly. All right, Santo. Well, I appreciate the read again. Been talking to Santo Torcivia with Market Insights about his quarterly Market Monitor report, which he just published this week. And you've been listening to Kemp Harr and FloorDaily.net.